Hey, this is Hans from Request for Music. I like to introduce my new module, Graphs. Graphs, the name might give you the wrong idea, but Graphs is a filter, but not a usual filter. Um, I wanted to have a filter with stereo in and outputs because I do a lot of stereo at the moment. And instead of creating a standard stereo filter where I just have two filters behaving separately from each other, I wanted to have something else. So Graphs is actually a filter that internally splits the signal up into a mid field, or whatever you call it, a mid part and a side part, where the side parts can be changed by any of the controls that are in there. I'll first reset this to the basics, and I'll dial the cutoff back, and I'll set some of the knobs back and switches back. So Graphs, it has, as usual, it has a left and a right input, it has an envelope input, and it has a left and a right output on the bottom. That's where all the standard in and outputs are on my modules. So that's basically what I use it for. But for the rest, there's yeah, it's built up in a couple of rows. So the top row is the normal standard kind of filtering, cutoff, resonance, and gravity, or sorry, envelope. Um, so that's basic behavior, and for the rest, there's extra knobs to do these extra parts where it has warp, focus, and gravity. It has tilt. Uh, um, Tilt, pivot. I was distracted. Tilt, pivot, and drive on the bottom row, and then there's a couple of switches: a switch for mode, the mix knob, and the leak switch. That makes the behavior different in some ways. And for the rest, there's inputs for modulation of cutoff and resonance, of warp, focus, and gravity, and of tilt, drive, and the mix. There's no input for the pivot. Pivot is the frequency that you set around which the other knobs like focus, gravity, tilt behave. They make that side chain behave different. So normally it's centered, and that's why it's called graphs, because it sort of takes the center of the mid part of the filter, and it uses this as the center of gravity around which the gravity, focus, and tilt and pivot makes the rest of the side chains behave for your filter. I'm going to take a grains module out. I intended this mainly to work with pads and stuff like that. You can still use it as sort of a standard filter. It's 12 dB state variable. That means that the warp knob makes you, without any switching, change from a low pass via band pass to a high pass filter. So that's what it does. So let's take the output of my grains into the left and right of this, and I'll take the left and right output and go into the main output there. So that should be enough. And let's see if the everything's on screen. Yes, it is. So let's take a sample that I created yesterday from an Arturia plugin, a Choirs plugin. So I'll take this out and I'll send it through, and so this is, I'll mix it down a bit. So that's my sample that I use for the moment, and if I obviously dial my mix back to 0, then I get the full sample from the grains module. So dial it back to full 100% mix. You only have the things like cutoff frequency that I can arrange with the graphs module. So you hear that's normal behavior. And I'll dial it back for the moment now. I'll take a ADSR module in there. So I'll put that on the side here and just take a gate in there and put the envelope out into the graphs module. And the envelope has a knob to set it from -1 to +1. So if I dial something up here and obviously I don't have any pitch in at the moment. I need to change that differently, sorry. I won't use any pitch for now. I only will change pitch to something else at once I go on further with this. So you hear that this works obviously, and so something like that, and some resonance going on. Maybe something longer. And so that's normal standard behavior. And I'll take the cutoff up. If I do my warp now, you'll hear that this is almost high pass filter. So then I would need to change my envelope the other way around. So something like that. So, as I said, pretty standard behavior there. But if I'll set back my turn the volume down so I hear myself talk. If I set this back so there's no envelope at the moment, the warp already does its work because it was going up to high pass filter, of course. So I'll put it somewhere in the middle at band pass and put some more output into this. So here's something. So obviously this normally works. That's a bit too much input, apparently. But now if I listen when I change the focus and the gravity, you'll hear that the sound changes in left and right. So especially if I start modulating these inputs for focus, gravity, and tilt, you'll hear that it does different things. And obviously there's, by the way, also a drive in there. So if I take that up, it starts to saturate stuff. So that's an option that you have there. So now let's take my my RANS modules, because those modules that I introduced a couple of days ago can easily be worked on together with this. So I'm looking for my RANS. Yeah, there it is. Randoms, and it has two modulators that you can use separately. So I'll take my randoms out, and first of all, let's change the cutoff behavior. So just to let you hear what it does, of course. And the randoms module is, yeah, it can be used as a standard sample and hold module, which I'm using it as now. But as soon as I change the slew, then obviously I can change the way that it goes from one voltage to the other. So it makes it more of a sine wave or triangle wave or whatever, and I can change the probability in there to change or to set how easily it will go to a next step in that modulation. So let me show you. And it actually means that I can even use an envelope coming from this module by having it create such a sample and hold way of working with that envelope. So I'm putting that in here, and I'm taking my standard sample and hold kind of work with it, and I'll speed it up a bit. Okay, now I'm also going to input the signal as more stereo, because if I use the original grains, so this was my original grains. This is what Graves does to it. So take that back first. And I can use the spreading on my grains. First of all, let's mix it to the grains module itself. So I get something like this, where I have all these peaks, which is the density of all the grains. So take the density out, and I get less grains that it's creating. Change the position, and I'm taking a different part of my range. Set my spreading, and it's going to pick different parts and change the grain size. So it's taking all these different parts. Take my spread up, so it's dividing that over the stereo image. So that's what grains does. This is what Graves is doing to it. Then one final step in grains. I'm going to take my random pitch up. So with random pitch, it's doing this, which is good for a horror movie, but if I wanted to have a bit less erratic, I'm going to take my scaling up to different settings. So I'll take major or minor pentatonic in C, and now take my graphs filter up. So this is with filter. And this is without. So let's take it through some reverb and delay to have it really giving some ambient or that kind of atmosphere or that kind of mood. So I'm going to take my reverb module and I'm going to take my delay module, and I'll probably create a module within a couple of weeks where I have both a delay and a reverb in one module with smaller knobs as the graphs and rends have, which also have just the white knobs. I'm shifting that kind of color behavior a bit. But anyway, I'll take my signal into my delay first, take my delay out into my reverb, and take the reverb out into my my mains. Switch them on and set the volume up. So now I'm having my pitch of the grains module being modulated by such a rens, and the rens is also modulating all of those graph stuff in there. So I'm getting a pretty unpredictable sound, but yeah, nice to work with. As I said, nice for all kinds of ambient sounds and stuff like that. Anyway, that became a bit more than just a graphs module, but it was actually intended as sort of an instruction for the graphs module. So I'll be back with new ones. I hope you like this one. Obviously, there's a 5-day demo in the store, and I'll see you back at a new one. So bye bye for now. Cheers. Bye bye.